Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure this insightful dialogue has got all of us taking notes. And what a better world it would be if we could understand all the legal documents that we ever come across, right? But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on to our next luminary for the day. I would like to call on stage, or rather screen, Mr. V. Lakshmikumaran, founder and managing partner, Lakshmikumaran and Sridharan. He will share his visionary thoughts on future of governance, compliances, legal services, the confluence of policy with business. I would like to once again invite Dr. Batra back on the screen to introduce further Mr. Lakshmikumaran.
Thank you, Khyati. It's an honor to be able to introduce our next speaker. Can we have him? He is Mr. V. Lakshmikumaran, founder and managing partner, Lakshmikumaran and Sridharan. I've had the good fortune of interacting with him multiple times and did an interview where I thought I learned something. But he doesn't really need an introduction to any gathering, especially not a business world and a legal world gathering. But as is customary, let me, to set context, introduce him. He will talk about the future of governance, compliances, and legal services, the confluence of policy with business. Just to give you a introduction to him, for over 30 odd years, he has handled several high-profile litigation and has led his firm in representing clients in over 40,000 litigations before Supreme Court of India, high courts, tribunals, and quasi-judicial authorities. He's a key figure in shaping India's tax jurisprudence. His clientele includes the topmost companies, I would say BW 500 companies. He's also a delegate of the International Chamber of Commerce. He's also attended the World Customs Organization Harmonized System Committee meetings on classifications in Brussels. He addressed the WCU GATT valuation workshop on customs valuation. He's somebody who served in the government before he came into the private sector. So he understands the nuances of governance, bureaucracy, policy. And over the last 3 decades, he's been able to use this to build his firm, but more importantly, make an impact and contribution to the Indian business policy and the legal ecosystem. Let me welcome Mr. V. Lakshmikumaran to the fore. Mr. Lakshmikumaran, good afternoon. Look forward to your address.
Thank you, Anurag. So, I'm humbled by your introduction. You have given me a very interesting topic to discuss. That is governance, compliances, legal services, confluence of policy, and reforms. Let us now talk about the governance and compliances together, and then we come to the legal services a little later. We've been hearing about the corporate governance. From where we get this particular concept of corporate governance? Any corporate, when it is run, who are the stakeholders of this corporate? The shareholders, definitely. The board of directors who are managing the company. The banks and financial institutions, the government agencies, regulators, and tax administration, the staff and employees working in this company, vendors from whom they purchase various materials, raw materials, components, distributors who are in the distribution chain, and ultimately the faceless customers to whom they are selling the goods or the wares. Apart from all, there are people who are not dealing with them at all, people at large, the people of this country or elsewhere. We also have today internet. Actually, I am talking now from my home to the august audience here, enabled by the internet. And this has got Other aspects also, the social media, where what you say and what you think are transmitted. You are also sitting on various data productions, data useful of data, all those things. They are all part and parcel of those stakeholders. Whenever we are talking about the governance and compliances and the policies, what exactly we mean? All it means is telling the corporate, act fairly. Act fairly in respect of all stakeholders. Let there not be a situation where you benefit some people and be unfair to others. That is not wanted. And the principle of governance emanates from this particular principle, that this corporate, as a corporate citizen, has to act fairly with regard to all stakeholders, known or unknown. What are the things which we normally put across as a compliance or the governance? First, let there be no bribes. Let there be no frauds. Let there be no fudging of accounts and documents. Let there not be undue influence of getting certain materials to you. Let there not be insider trading, whereby the person who are in charge or in knowledge of this internal affairs get undue advantage over other shareholders. Apart from all, they also want to ensure that the goods you are selling to ultimate customers whom you not know, the future customers, are they getting the fair prices? The product can be compared. There is laws like Legal Metrology Act, price control, etc. Do not hoard and make profiteering. You can make profits, but don't go profiteering. They also bring in what is known as corporate social responsibilities. Why did it come? It is not in relation to the people with whom you are dealing with, the people who do not deal with it, the society at large. Now, this society, consisting of your customers and non-customers, have provided you a platform or an opportunity to sell your wares. And they should also be treated fairly. And it is now made mandatory that a percentage of your total revenue you spend, or the profit you spend, on the corporate social responsibilities. Pay the taxes correctly. Not a penny more, not a penny less. This again is going to benefit the whole cross-section of the society which you are dealing with. You are part of it. Keep the customer's data safe. Do not trade in it. Do not allow people to hack it. Do not allow those accounts made in public. Today you have a whole lot of system outside who can utilize this data and make money out of it, make business out of it. It's not fair. And also ensure that your goods or the manufacturing processes do not pollute the environment, because again people at large are affected. There should be no discrimination in the gender, race, language, culture, religion. Let there not be. Be fair, because they are all part and parcel of the society. These are the desired, and many more we'll talk about a little later. All these things are the desired because, as I mentioned, there are several stakeholders, known and unknown, direct and indirect. And the government wants you to be fair to everybody. And that is why all these policies, all these rules, regulations have been brought. Now let us go step by step on this. The regulations are brought to ensure fairness. And regulators are appointed to ensure that the field in which they are dealing with or regulating are properly taken care. That includes competition law. You name it. Today, business laws are many, many. I can't envy a CEO or a CFO or the general counsel today because he has to comply with many, many, many lawyers, many, many laws. Of course, they have to deal with many lawyers also, unfortunately. But the society needs it. This was not the position about 20 years, 30 years back. The law is evolving. We are learning from big scams happen not only in India and abroad. And these things happened because there was a laxity in the compliance. There is a laxity in the governance. If the focus of a company is only towards making more profit towards only its shareholders, at the cost of the society at large, the government says, policy says, no, it's not good. This is not fair. So ultimately, this entire governance is tested under the touchstone of fairness. And today, you look at the technologies. The technologies are going so fast, and existing law many times cannot take care of those new technologies. I have seen the business methods of doing business in a different manner, in a newer manner, as also the technologies are evolving so fast. The existing legislations may not be able to deal with these type of situations. Did you ever think about 10 years back that a person who does not own a single car or a taxi will be running the biggest taxi company in the world? Did you ever think? The situations are very different today. Could you think that what you and I are talking, I am putting it in a social media, that becomes subject of discussions? And we are seeing daily today in the televisions about some issues taking up, somebody is murdered, committing suicide, the people are taking, etc. It is discussed in such a great detail. I am sure somebody will make a movie out of it. That means there are people outside who would like to make money, business, out of personal habits or personal conversation. And this is what is evolving today. You have not heard of a cyberbullying earlier, a term. You never heard. But today it is there. By shaming you, people can make money. It's possible. And they have done it. And they are doing it day in and day out. Now, all these policies, regulations which are brought in, some of it is self-regulation, some of them were mandated by the legislation, is because of the needs of the society at a particular point of time. These are the needs. And these needs need to be addressed. And that is where the policies come in. And the policies will state very clearly, I want you to comply with this. And it is done. Let us assume the parliament in India and the state legislations are doing their job well. They are our representatives and they are legislating what is needed for the society at present. We take it. And also, while doing that particular legislations, compliances, As I mentioned earlier, there are many, many stakeholders. It is possible that either the legislation or the administration regulating the legislation can act in an unreasonable manner, tilting the balance. It is possible. The language used is vague, imperfect. Our friend Mr. Jyoti Sagar was talking about legislation made in a simple English. It is a need of the hour. The legislations are meant for the common man. The audience of the legislation is a common man, but he can't understand. At least in the laws which I am dealing with, whether it is direct taxes or indirect taxes like GST or customs, or for the WTO laws, the agreements are worded in a manner where a common man just cannot understand. Now, in a situation of this nature, it is possible for the regulator or the administrator can take an extreme position and tilt the balance. As I said, it could be as a result of the vagueness in the legislation itself, or because of over-enthusiastic regulators trying to regulate this, interpret in a manner where it is beyond what the legislators themselves want to say. How do you strike a balance? And that is where judiciary comes in. That is where the lawyers come in. And to strike a balance in the process, that ultimate fairness to all the stakeholders are achieved. I have always taken a position, for example, taxes. When a corporate comes to me and says, sir, we have got a tax demand of 100 crores, it's too much. I said, I agree with you. Leave the papers, let us discuss. I spend about 4 or 5 days reading that, and then I call them for discussion. Then I tell them, sir, I have studied the papers. I would like to discuss more detail with you. After spending another day or two, do research myself and along with my colleagues, I would say, sir, out of the 100 crores, 35 crores is payable legally to the government. Pay it. Don't ask me to fight for the 35 crores. I cannot. Because that is legally correct. Your interpretation was wrong. And therefore, I would advise you to make the payment. Yes, the remaining 65 crores, what the government is demanding is incorrect. I will fight for it. If the client wants me to appear and argue for the entire 100 crores, I quietly return the file. Say, thank you, sir. I don't think I can help you. There will be others who can help you, because for that you have to tell some lies there, etc. I cannot. At least my conscience does not permit. This is what a lawyer is supposed to do. At least I expect them to do. I would not say that others should do. This is what I do. I am not saying others doing right or wrong, because why should I judge others? And the excessive legislations, which is tilting the balance, excessive interpretation tilting the balance, are ultimately corrected by the judiciary. And this checks and balances between the needs of the society, the policy which is being framed, and the policy being translated into legislations, and the legislators themselves are under the constitution correctly done or not, and what is the need of the hour, and whether this is offending the basic structure of the constitution or not. This is the play which is being taken place in the Supreme Court and the High Courts. And the lawyers play a significant role in this particular process. As I said, there are situations where the new technology, NAR, or the new law, the new business method, is beyond the existing law. To take an example, suppose an artificial intelligence imparted by the computers, a group of computer servers, if they are able to come back with a good invention of a particular component of an automobile, who will be the inventor in this case? The human intervention there was minimal. The computer did the entire thing and came up with a fantastic model which never thought of no human being ever thought of it. But it came with an invention. It is new, it is novel, it has got industrial applications, and it is not obvious. Therefore, you are entitled for the patent. But the patent law says you must have a physical person to claim a patent. And this computer is not a physical person. What do we do? So these are the situations which will come up. I'm giving just an example. There are many situations where the technologies are far ahead and the legislation is lagging behind. And the gaps have to be filled. How do you stretch the existing law and legislation to take care of the future till the legislation is made for those type of situations? This is where the judiciary comes in and the lawyers help. And the innovative way in which the lawyers interpret, assist the court to give a decision to fill the gap is the beauty of our Indian judiciary. I think I should leave. I think I should stop here, Anurag. I think I should give some time for the people to ask some questions. I can go on talking. I think it will be unfair to the people and you. So, because I think I'm supposed to talk about 30 minutes, including the questions, and therefore I would invite some questions if any at this point.
I just want to ask you, you beautifully articulated what is your raison d'etre, what is your philosophy, how you would advise a client. Now tell us, when it comes to the government and governance and intersection of policy, legal, business, what has changed in the last 6 months? What is that one or two significant changes that all legal professionals should be conscious of? And what is the bearing they will have on the future?
When you talk about the last 6 months, Anurag, you are talking about the COVID situation or beyond? If it is...
COVID situation impacting the economy, and how does that impact everything that you talk?
Sure. It's a very interesting question. This virus, unlike other known viruses, I have made some study about the virus itself, is very different and it can mutate. It has brought down the whole world economy to its knees. India cannot escape. There are businesses will be just closed down because they can't be without a customer for 6 months, 9 months. It's not possible. The government stimulus is first of all geared towards the lower strata of society, the people who need because they have to survive. The situation is going to become slightly different after the situation improves. But as resilient as far as the economy is concerned, I am sure that it will come back, but in a very different manner. But the way we work, the way the government works, the way the corporate works will be very different after this experience. The policies that are being done by the government under these circumstances, they are also clueless. What exactly is happening, what is going to happen next 3 months, 6 months, etc. I don't think they have a full answer for this. So it is a quick fix. I would say they are doing their best, but it is like changing the wheel when their car is running. We are in that particular position today as of now. I suppose situation will become better after 2-3 months when the curve flat, then better things will come. But there are very fluid situations, and many law firms have learned to work in a different manner, be considerate towards the corporate, and also start working from home. And I must say that the government and the courts have started functioning in a video conference mode. Virtual hearings are taking place. the government officers are also working in a virtual manner, and all the representations for the change in the policy, etc., are looked at sympathetically. I would say at this point of time, the government response seems to be very positive, though may not be adequate.
Thank you again for being balanced and for being candid. If you can be balanced with being candid, I think the best way to be. So you say what is honest and what needs to be said, but they say it in a way that it is accepted. So thank you, Mr. Lakshmikumaran. It's been a great honor to listen to you and to be able to converse with you. You're a great role model for a lot of legal luminaries and law firm owners and young professionals. So we look forward to your guidance and advice in our future endeavors at BW Legal World and Business World. Nandri, we're grateful to you and thank you.
Thank
you, Mr.
Your Tamil is very good. Thank you.
I only know 4 words, sir. So one of them is Nandri because my roommate in the business school was from Chennai, is a very close friend. So thank you for
You have learned the right language. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Lakshmikumaran.